the best of the rest. You know, Zubair is going to get a pose in here. We're going to get Claire's pose in. Kind of, you know, I don't want to make this class about like it's the end of the year and new beginnings. Like that's it's been a little played out, right? So this is just like, let's make this kind of like our favorite feel good kind of end on a good note. And Claire, I'm happy you're able to join. I hope Ben's surgery and everything went well. So I think you guys saw from the text messages that I put some stuff out there asking people what their favorite poses are. It's kind of amazing to me that out of all like the yoga poses and how much like diversity there is, Arda Chandrasana was my favorite pose for a very, very long time when I first started yoga, right? Because there was that first element of like balance and stretch and floating in the twist, you know, and then Claire, you know, I got a little bit attached to that like cat pulling its tail because it's complex, but it gets a lot of things at once. So also I would ask you as I kind of go through this series with you is maybe look at the pose, even if it's not one of your favorites, look at it with like new eyes and kind of wonder like, oh, what is someone else? Have you ever done that with someone? Like, what does someone else see in this person? Like, can you see if you can maybe understand the characteristics that actually make this pose and really allow it to come alive? We're not going to start lying down. We're going to start from seated. I'm actually gonna face you to get started here. And bottoms of your feet together with your feet slightly forward. So this is not, you guys, this is not a cranking in like deep Baddha Konasana. This is a little bit more towards that diamond shape. So the feet can land in a place where you're comfortable. And then I hold the fronts of my shins, right? Pulling on the fronts of the shins, feeling if I can find a little bit more of the tops of the sitting bones. Folding the hands over the center of your chest. Closing your eyes. Okay, so the themes of this week, and I love how they're kind of like, they just feed each other, right? Tuesday was a little bit, this is that dead week between Christmas and New Year's. It's a week of a little bit more like non-doing, maybe being with family, not working. There's like this little bit of a void, some empty space. It's a good time for some self-reflection. And then yesterday's class was about giving yourself a second chance. I've been like so honored in my life with like employers and friends and families and loved ones, like, you know, giving me a second chance, a second opportunity. And usually when we get a second chance, we approach it a little more humble. So that's what I want to think of going from like 2001 21 to 22 is taking the learnings from this year and just kind of humbly walking into the next year. And then the final thing for today is make this feel good. See if you can let every one of these poses be your favorite by the way that you approach it. Inhale. Feel the breath fill up around the center of the heart and exhale. So with my hands planted, palms across the chest, you create a little bit of tension so that as you inhale, you feel the chest rise. Yep, as it lifts and expands, and exhale. Okay, one more, breathe in. Breathe out. As you float your eyes open, you hold the fronts of your shin bones and rock back onto the back of your pelvis, tucking the chin into the chest. You guys know this kind of has that feeling of like a cat pose. Tucking the tailbone under, and right, Maria, as much as you need to this morning, like a little bit of that like lower abdominal engagement will help. And then as you pull on your shins, inhale, rock forward, draw the elbows back and lift the chest. And so it's through that resistance that you extend and lift the spine. And then exhale, rock back. Side waistline pulls back, really allow yourself to hang. And a couple more rounds here. You guys get the rhythm. Inhale, open. Okay, so kind of cat, cows, in and out movement. It's one of my favorite ways to start a class because it's pretty approachable. You can start to link the movement with the breath, helping to clear out the mind and settle into your practice. Inhale, let's lift up, extend the spine, feel it as a back bend. Exhale, rock back, feel that as a forward fold as you tuck and hang. 2 more together, please. Inhale, maybe it gets a little bit bigger as the shoulder blades draw together. Exhale, feel the upper back widen, stretch to new space. And 1 more. Inhale, shoulder blades roll down the back and together. Collarbones are broad. And exhale, rock that all the way back. Good. As you lift back up to center, pivot, turn, and find the top of your mat as you come into tabletop position. Okay, we're going to start with the feet and knees together. Hands all the way back towards your feet as you round in. And so as we find these poses together here, you guys, I'm also going to try to like highlight or at least say like what I love about these poses. And something about child's pose has shifted for me. It was always like this, like, okay, the teacher says we're allowed to take a break. But now it's really developed into like a real pose. I like to feel the tops of my feet pressing down, the hugging of the lower legs, the shin bones to the midline. I like to make it a little bit more active by tucking the tailbone under. And I really appreciate the way that it allows me to bring more awareness into the back body, sending the breath across the low back, mid back, upper back. I feel that is a very good pose to just surrender into. Inhale. Exhale. Roll up through your spine. And as you face forward to the top of your mat, take your knees open wide to a big V here. Plant the hands towards the middle of your mat. Left hand, palm up, will slide in front of your right knee. This is like our thread the needle. Normally we do it from tabletop, but this is a little bit softer to begin. You'll look to bring your left ear, your left shoulder onto the mat. And then if any of you would like, the right arm can actually wrap around and reach for your upper inner left thigh and begin to try to roll onto the back of that left shoulder, turning your right shoulder up towards the ceiling. Good. We won't stay for long. Inhale. Exhale. Unwind your binds. Come back to center, plant the palms, feel that, right? So kind of digest the poses, right palm up, slide it in front of your left knee as you reach, right? Left hand active into the mat if you need it to help you to turn more through the mid spine, and then left arm up and around, take the half binds as you wrap in. Inhale. Okay, and so every pose, I want you to kind of figure out what you could like about the pose. What does feel good? Kind of find like that sweet spot within the pose that you can just relax into. Unwind your left arm and then come back to center. Keep the knees open wide. Walk both hands off at that 45-degree angle. You guys know I always love to do this stuff off at the 45 degrees. And then pour the belly, the chest, the chin out over the right leg as you extend your arms forward. Now with your arms reaching away from the shoulders, elbows lifting up away from the mat, quite active. Use the hands, push more weight back into that left hip. And then see if you can seal your belly, your chest, and your chin over that right leg, just like a child's pose, but directing the breath into the left side body. Inhale. Exhale, walk the hands back through center. Okay, kind of slow start, opening up the low back and walk your hands over to the left. I do turn the belly, right? I want to make sure that my belly button, my chest, and my chin fold over the left leg and then reach out and away. The priority is not just going forward, it's finding that balance of rooting back, outer right hip, pulling down. And you guys, like, we're going to do triangles poses today. We're going to do Arda Chandrasanas, right? And both of those poses need a lot of space through the side body. So from that right hip crease, reach through your right armpit, extends, inhale, exhale. Hands walk back to center. Parallel your knees, thighs come to parallel, shift forward, tabletop position. Tuck toes. Inhale, pull forward, right? I'm gonna just try to add in little things like knowing the three of your bodies, like what maybe you might need a little bit more today. So let's hover the knees for that moment, just to make sure you are bracing in through the core. And even though I'm not having you put a block in between your knees, your inner knees are always hugging the midline. Now, can you look forward, not just with the face, but with the heart? Yeah, melting into the upper back and then leading with your sitting bones, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Maria, don't be afraid to take your feet wider, especially as we start, if that helps. Yep, and then everybody pedal out your legs here. Inhale. Exhale. Knees drop down to the mat, tabletop. Okay, and then extend left leg out to the side. Okay, so a couple of things that are like I love to do. Turn your left toes up towards the ceiling. Start to get that rotation as you unstick. That's external rotation. And then spin it back down. Inhale. Exhale, rock it back onto the back of the heel. Maybe you sit back a little. You should feel this as a stretch through the adductor in the inner knee. One more time, pull it back forward, inhale, and rock that back. And if you'd like to push your right hip all the way now back towards your right heel, and then walk your hands forward, folding down the middle of your mats. One. Inhale. Okay, so I think in the new year, I'm going to get a little bit more into it, you guys, but there is a difference between flexibility and mobility, right? And so right now, I want you to think of that like inner left leg, and you're trying to make that actually more flexible. So like a rubber band, you're trying to pull the two ends from the left hip to the left heel apart as you stretch. Good, come back up through center. Plant that left foot, right hand underneath your right shoulder. Inhale, please lift, left arm up, turn towards your left foot, and then thread the needle here. Left hand slides behind right wrist, left ear down, and now please use that right arm a little more actively to tuck in. Inhale, can you look over that top right shoulder? So you're rotating through the ribs, up through the armpits, through the shoulders, through the neck, and maybe gazing up towards the ceiling. And how's that left foot, you guys? Is your left foot really squeezing down into the floor? And so now we're actually working a little bit more mobility, trying to get into the different joints here, less about the muscle, more about the joints as you squeeze in, and then come back through center. Okay. Extend your left leg straight back, left toes tuck under, spin your left heel to flat, Salamba Vatsisasana. Okay, extend your left arm all the way over your left ear, and then pick up that left foot. Okay, and so Zubair, I really want you to think of this as like a half, right, or like a short Arda Chandrasana, right? So in Arda Chandrasana, we straighten the right leg, we stand on the right foot. But here I want you to think that your right knee is pressing down. Front ribs are drawing into back ribs, and you try to balance there. Inhale, exhale, hand and knee to the mat, tabletop, tuck toes, pull the chest forward a little bit more. Cow, you guys hover the knees. And then this time, 45 degrees, little twist of the knees to the right. Equal pressure through both hands. Inhale, center. Stay low, sweep the knees, 45 degrees, clear out the mid back, mobility pushing into the left hand. Nice, Zubair, good. Come back to center, brace in, and hips lift. Downward facing dog. Remember, whenever the hamstrings or the low back feels a little tight, you can always take your feet slightly wider. Inhale. Exhale, knees down to the mat. Tabletop. Right leg extends out to the side. I'm just going to turn here so we make sure you guys can see, and then rotate the right toes up, unstick, and pull it forward. Inhale. How's the breath? Rotate, rotate. Look for what's good, like the sweet spot. Remember, we want me to think of that as like a rubber band as we stretch. Pull it back forward. And one more time. Okay, now as you go back, the left toe is pointed, fold all the way back. Think almost like a child's pose, right? And Maria, those are a little bit for you. I think like the more kind of child's poses. I know you don't love forward folds, right? But usually child's pose is a pretty approachable one to expand into the low back. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Let that go as you fully breathe out. Come back up to center. Right foot is still parallel now. Right arm up. Inhale, you guys, and this is leading because Claire likes complex poses, and so this is gonna lead somewhere. Inhale, open. Right hand slides behind left wrist. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because we're gonna have a little bit of balance. We're gonna have a little bit of twist. So see how comfortable you can start to get with this thread the needle action. Glue down through your right foot. I tighten up my right kneecap to really engage my right leg. Inhale, push. And exhale, release. Come back to center. Right leg extends back, floating. Tuck your right toes down. Spin your right heel to flat. Salamba Vatsasana as you open. Okay, and right arm extends over right ear. There's a little shift, a controlling of your center of gravity as you float that right leg. So we're gonna do something called floating bound angle pose. It's got a lot of different elements into it, but you guys have got this. There's the hovering of the back leg, the core, the twist, and that thread the needle. Inhale. Exhale, hand and knee to the mat, come back, tabletop position, tuck toes, inhale, pull the chest forward, hover the knees, pretend like there's a block there, keep the sitting bones bright as you really press your thigh bones back and broaden across your hamstrings. Inhale. Exhale, so everything was kind of leading to this complex pose. Come down onto your knees. Tabletop. Take your right hand, thread it behind your left wrist. Okay. Extend your left leg back, toes are tucked under. Float your left leg. Yep. So that's a floating thread the needle. Yep. Left leg is up now. Bend both knees. Bring your feet together to touch like we started class, right? So now you're in that floating bound angle, squeezing the outer hips. And if you can catch your balance, could you bring your hands into prayer pose, into Anjali Mudra at the heart? Just try to have, don't take it seriously, exactly We roll out, we try to be playful, we balance, lift that left knee up towards the ceiling. I think that's pretty complex, right, Claire? And then release. And great job, you guys. Nice, Maria. And come back to center. Little smile on the face. You guys are the first ones to try that ever with me. Inhale forward. That's your cow pose. Hover the knees, be specific, and really press and activate through the legs. Inhale. Exhale, knees down to the mat. Tabletop. I'm gonna turn this way, right? So you can see side body. Let your left hand slide behind the right wrist, floating, bound, angle pose. Right leg extends back. Have a little fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. Right leg floats up. Perfect. And then you bend both knees and you bring either the bottoms of the feet or the toe tips together. And then play with the balance. Can you bring your hands into prayer? And this is kind of second chance. Try it again, right? Take what you learned from the first time, find that center of gravity, push into the palms, squeeze the knees. Woo! And release. Come back through center. Okay, I found that fun. Right, different definition of fun. I know, tuck toes. Inhale forward. Cow. Hover. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, look back at your feet. Step your feet wide. Walk all the way back. Malasana. Okay. And now the thing about Malasana, that this was the pose when I was a beginner that I loved to hate. Right? It was not accessible for me, but over time, I've really come to see the benefits of it. So like, right, Maria, this is also like a deep forward fold. It's a forward fold, but your hamstrings are out of the way. So it actually lets you kind of access getting that rotation through the hips, lift the chest. Nice. I think, Zubair, you might be able to take your elbows up a little bit higher, put them into the divots of those inner knees, press open, and maybe you guys all come to your fingertips. Make your arms longer and try to stretch open more there. Good. Now, find your heels, press down. Inhale. And as you exhale, lift all the way to stand. Great. Step forward, top of your mat. Hands in front of your heart as you close your eyes. Sometimes I just really do like to give myself permission, right? To eat my favorite foods, hang out with my favorite people, do my favorite things, right? Practice my favorite poses. And just brings a lot more joy into the moment and into the day. And so as you fold your hands in front of your heart, close your eyes, and what could you do today, right? To make it one of your best favorite days. Hopefully practicing a little yoga is on that list. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands. Inhale, full stretch, arms up. Exhale, bend knees first. Fold in. Hands to shins. Inhale, look forward. Left leg extends back. Okay. Good. Put that back left knee down and hold. Right. So Maria, yesterday we were talking a little bit that a lot of times the low back problems actually happen because the front of the hip is tight. So let's give this an extra moment to lengthen up and out. Let your hips be your anchor and try to pull the low back up and out of the basin of the pelvis. Inhale. Exhale, top of your push-up, plank pose. Top of your push-up, plank. Find the bottom of your push-up, chaturanga. Belly to the mat, point toes, collarbones are broad. Inhale, cobra. So it's an upper back bend. It's not into the low back. So Maria, keep your hips down and only curl up by lifting your hands. So I don't want you, Maria, to have any leverage on the floor. That's just going to crank you into your low back more. Good. We can all learn from there, right? And then lower down, big toes touch, interlace the hands behind your hips, and then lift up Shalabhasana, right? Lifting the legs. And so this is a true low back spinal strengthener. We don't get the leverage of the feet and the hands on the floor. You have to push your pelvis into the mat to strengthen. Good. And then hands down to the mat. Tuck your toes. Let's all go back through an active child's pose to make sure that the low back is long. And then lift your knees to press back, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Make it a good, big, juicy breath. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Feet wide, back of your mat. Walk it back, bend the ankles, bend the knees, deep fold at your hip creases, Malasana. So a nice transition instead of always folding into Uttanasana, which when you have low back pain can be a little bit painful, right? You can kind of aggravate it, press up using the power of the glutes. Step forward, top of your mat. 1 more round. Inhale, reach. Right? What could you maybe shift about your mindset? Oh, Maria, step forward. Yep, there you go. What could you shift about your mindset so that the practice feels really good? Bend your knees. Take your time. Belly, chest. Think of it like a child's pose out over your legs as you fold. Hands to shins. Inhale, look forward, half flat back. Step your right foot back. Lunge. Right? And so a lot of times for like poses to feel good for me or to like become my favorites, I'm not forcing them, right? I'm letting them kind of stretch and open at their own pace, own time. Back right knee down onto the mat. Scan the body. Is it in the eyes, in the face, in the jaw? Is it in the breath that you're kind of holding some tension? Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Top of your push-up, plank pose. Brace in 360 degrees around the core, right? Outer hips, lower abdominals, even the low back, like the glutes, slightly engage. And then top of your push-up to bottom of your push-up, belly to the floor. Point toes. I like how we all lifted up the hands, cobra. It's a very honest one, right? And then exhale, lower. Interlace the fingers behind your back and lift up. Shalabhasana. It does not have to be big. It should be even is what I look for. An even distribution of that curve. Inhale. Remember, kind of look down at your cheeks, you guys. When you look down at your cheeks, it kind of softens the face. And release. Hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck toes. Please push that all the way back first. Make sure you have the deep fold at your hips. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, 1. There you go. Yes, 2. That looks better, Maria. I like how much more you're bending your knees. Go back to bending your knees a lot. More bend, more bend. Yeah, there we go. 2. Why not? Yeah. Inhale. Exhale. Feet wide. Walk it all the way back. Malasana. Okay. We're going to stay in Malasana unless Bakasana is one of your favorite poses to practice. And that's a really nice entry point there. Yep. So how about Zubair and Claire? Yeah, let's go for that there. Look towards the center of your mat. Pick up your bum higher. Squeeze the knees. Beautiful. And let's engage those hamstrings. Right? Remember this year, we've like worked on putting blocks between the heels and the sitting bones as you lift up. Perfect. Don't forget to breathe. And release. Feet wide, hips down. Excellent. There you go, Zubair. Good balance. Find that tipping point. And as you dig down into your legs, inhale. Use an exhale from the glutes as you lift to rise. Walk that forward. Top of your mat. Kidim, we lost Maria. Kidim John said Trikonasana is his favorite pose. Bend knees, drop hips, sit low. Inhale, arms up, stretch out here. Put the belly on the thighs as you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen, half flat back. Exhale, step left foot back into the lunge. Right knee over right ankle, spin your back left heel to flat. Lift to rise, warrior two. Okay, so we're gonna approach triangle pose a few different ways. Straighten the front, right leg. Feel from your back left knee, you're pulling up through the left hip. And remember, I said triangle pose is a lot about the side body as you come back into the fold. So what I'd like to highlight, you guys, is we've done a lot of child's poses and stuff that we're creating, and even your down dog. How much can you deepen into that right hip crease? Right? I like to feel like sometimes think, oh, I know Zubair, I've done this to you, right? I put a belt around that hip crease and pulled it back as you open your chest. Inhale. Exhale. Hand to the mat. Top of your push-up plank pose. Move through vinyasa if you want it. Maria, you're with me. Plank pose. So either move through a vinyasa or plank pose, and we're gonna hold plank. Yeah, holding plank until everybody's ready to shift back. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, Maria, you're gonna do your right leg. Zubair and Claire, you're with me. Left foot steps forward. Lunge, you just do the opposite leg, Maria. Spin your back heel to flat. Come on up, warrior two. Straighten the front left leg. And I've really, from the pinky edge side of my right foot, up through my outer right knee, through the outer right hip, that's drawing up as this whole left leg tucks in almost like a forward fold into that deep hip crease. So it's not the low back that's bending, it's not the spine, right? It's the deep fold at the hips. For 3, 2, 1, make it big, express it out. Right fingertips to the floor, low lunge, back foot steps forward. Do not fold in, bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Skip Uttanasana, skip Arda Uttanasana. And then my word lately for this, you guys, is make it demanding. Get down in there, put some load on your legs. Strengthen the legs will strengthen the spine. Inhale, do not fold, fingertips down. Step your left foot back. Yeah. Spin your left heel to flat from the ground up. Right leg straightens. Right hand, fingertips to the outside edge of your right foot. Hold the ankle. Again, triangle pose. 2 ways we approached it, from up to down, and then down from up. Find your foundation, feet to knees, knees to hips, hips squeeze to open the spine. Everybody, left hand, left hip. Look forward and down. And then one of Zubair's favorite poses, Arda Chandras and a half moon. And this is a great place from triangle to set it up. I bend my knee until my right knee is over my right heel. Reach the right fingertips to the pinky edge side of the foot. And remember that feeling of floating that back leg. Good. Yep. And then you're ready. Top arm can go up. If you have any particular desire to bring your hands together into Anjali Mudra in front of your heart, that is also an option. It will help you to stabilize your legs. For 3. For 2, push the floor. Excellent. Bend your right knee. Plank pose. Maria, you're with me. Anyone else? Move through your vinyasa. If you want to hold plank, squeeze your feet together. Imagine a block between your knees as you hug that midline. Imagine a tennis ball between your inner thighs. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps forward, up in between your hands, lunge. Right heel spins to flat, don't lift up. Push from the feet to the knees, roll open through the hips. Triangle pose from the ground up. So I also wanted to include that because it was probably this year that I started entering my triangle poses that way, instead of always hinging first, seeing how much I could actually find the power from the stability in the legs and then hinge the hips to open. Okay. Find that sweet spot. And then right hand, right hip. Bend your left knee until it feels stacked. Most people let that left knee collapse in. Make sure that the inner left knee is pulling forward. Transition the weight, left fingertips down, right leg floats. Are you doing cow in your low back? That could pinch the low back. If you need to soften the left knee, bend it slightly and get a little bit more posterior tilt through your low back. A little more core and then full expression. If you liked the idea of floating this for 3, for 2, and 1, step that back with control, top of your push-up, point post. Maria, stay. Hug the thumbs together, hug the big toes together, lots of lower abdominals. Brace in for 3, for 2, 1. Hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Big toes come together to touch. Look towards your right hand. Right knee on the floor. Pigeon pose. Right, so pigeon pose was the one that got the most votes. How do you work with it? If it's too intense, the right foot pulls in. If you need more, the pinky edge side of the right foot moves forward. But I do use my hands. I push the floor and I readjust, making sure that the center of the left thigh is turning straight down. And then exhale, fold in. Pointing that back left toe, relaxing the foot. Put the imaginary balloon into your right hip and imagine that your breath can inflate it as you inhale. Right, and like the deflation process is what is kind of like flattening you closer down towards the floor. Does anyone else feel that this is one of those ones like that it hurts so good? It's one of those things that sometimes like in the moment can be a little bit, intense sensation. But then usually when I'm done, I'm like, oh, I love that pose. Like, thank God it's in my life. Thank God I learned how to do some pigeons. Keep turning that left hip forward and down. Inhale. Exhale. Walk the hands underneath your shoulders. Downward facing dog. Okay, pedal that out. Big, remember Claire was there, but like yesterday, like the word I kept saying was just like be generous. Be generous with your awareness. Keep it on your mat, keep it focused, and be really generous with your breath and the amount of energy that you put into each pose. Left hand, bring your left knee on the floor behind that left wrist, swinging it open. Good. So I check the foot and I do lift out of it a little bit. I get off the floor so I can readjust, Respect both sides. They can be very different. And release in. We're going to stay about 5 to 8 more breaths. Usually when I'm about halfway in, I kind of readjust. I see if there's any more space. Just like in your triangle pose, just like in your Arda Chandrasana, because those, like Zubair, right, those are externally rotated poses. You want to really think from the outer hips up through the armpits. You're getting long. A lot of people shorten through the left side body here. You guys keep pulling your left hip back, right? The left sitting bone pulls towards the back right corner of your mats. And then you try to stretch the spine forward. Lift up through center. Downward facing dog as you press the floor. Little more bend to the knees, Maria. More bend, more bend, more bend. Yes, feel that difference. Okay, guys, so it's actually a trick. If you're also trying to develop a little bit more of a home practice, is I used to just pick my 5 favorite poses and I would just do those 5. It would take me, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then I'd roll up my mat. And that was my practice for the day. I would just do what I liked, right? What would get me getting consistent. And then once I was consistent, I started adding in things that maybe kind of were opportunities or challenged me. Right knee on the floor behind your right wrist. Again, pigeon. Second approach, if that was enough for you, go ahead, stay there. But if you'd like to add that thread the needle complexity, you take your left hand in front of your left knee, and then your right hand can wrap around, and I reach for my right big toe in a yogic toe lock. You do not have to add complexity. You can stay where you were. And if you want a little twist, and then, since you're all doing it, I bend my left elbow and I take my fingertips to the front head of that right shoulder, and I use my fingertips and I try to press my right shoulder more open. I try to lean back into it. There you go. Good. Really, almost like you're gonna rock out of it, right? Almost like you're gonna fall to the left. Keep rolling, but keeping your right hip heavy. Looks good. Unwind the binds. Plant the palms. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left knee on the floor behind your left wrist. So right, the foot is a little bit more folded in if you're going to go for that bind. Right hand, thread the needle. Left arm comes up and around, half bind. Grab the big toe. Do you guys feel that if you push the back of your left hand and you actually push the back of your right hand and your right shoulder, if you push those into the floor, you might be able to twist open more. Nice, Zubair, good. And then bend your right fingertips and give yourself more of a twist, pushing the right fingertips into the head of that left shoulder. Always think cobra when you twist, right? Opening the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Come back up to center. No down dog. Walk up onto your hands and right leg swings around. Left foot high up into your right thigh, right? And so then Ali and I think one more person said that Janu Shirshasanas were their favorite poses. Left knee's bent, close the knee fully. And what's lovely about this, you guys, and I know why Ali likes it, because she has low back pain, because it's that half twist that lengthens you up out of your sacrum, out of your quadratus lumborum as you turn over your right leg. And let's take it as a traditional pose, reaching for the foot, reaching for the ankle as you fold in. So I know how Maria feels about forward folds. It's the same way I feel about forward folds, right? Kind of don't like them. But if in line with today's theme, right? If a pose is not your favorite, what could you do differently? Just maybe do it less. Have less expectations out of it or what your body's meant to do. Back off, reapproach. Focus less on maybe flexibility and more on keeping strength in the right leg, flexing it out, right? There's lots of different things. Maybe you work on your mantra. Inhale. Exhale. Walk up through center. Keep your left leg folded in. Extend your right leg out. Good. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Take that as a little bit of a back bend. And then right elbow towards your right knee. Inhale up through center. Left elbow towards your left knee. Inhale, center. Right elbow, can it go on the inside? Releasing that right palm down. Use the head pressing back into the hand and extend your left arm. Yeah, nice, Zubair. Good reapproach on that. If I was there, I would step on the top of everybody's left thigh, squeeze it down into the mat. Chin away from chest. Inhale. Exhale, come back up through center. Left foot moves slightly forward. So my left ankle is more in line with my left knee. It's not in so tight. Fold that back right leg in. So Maria, when we fold that back right leg in, that's the internal rotation, right? You guys feel that? Like your right leg is pulling in more. Hands at your heart. Lift up to kneeling. Squeeze the glutes. Release. Switch legs. Yeah, try not to use your hands. I know if your back hurts, right? But, and then lift up, squeeze the glutes. This is mobility. We're working more on releasing the joints, right? It's not about the flexibility necessarily. Lift up, inhale. Exhale back down. Float through the legs, rotate, get internal rotation in that left leg as you lift up. Okay, I want to go one more full round, you guys. Swing that down. Smooth it out. Float. Lift up. Kneeling. And we should be landing on the last side. Right leg is in, left leg folds in. Lift all the way up. Come back down. Left leg swings forward. Janu Shirshasana. Right foot. Upper left thigh. Nice, Claire. Good. Turn out over your left leg. And draw yourself down and in. Yep, Maria, maybe here on fingertips. Don't even fold in. Yeah, work squeezing the foot and leg together. Work more like the stability from the outer hips. Yeah, and use the floor to lift your chest. You don't always have to go in, right? Make the pose approachable where you could be here. One. Keep turning, Zubair, away from that right knee. Yeah, make it more of a twist if you want. Yes, through the ribs. 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Come back up to center. Left leg extends out. You can tuck it in. Interlace the fingers, open, head back. Left elbow, reach it towards the left knee. It's not quite as deep. Inhale, center. Right elbow, right knee, side bends. Head back. Inhale up to center. Now, maybe that left elbow can drop on the inside edge of the left knee, and then I release the left palm. Your choice. Do you like the head and the hand connection there, or do you want to get some length as you pull up and out? Let it feel good. So I think probably more than any time in my life, like this year, I taught a lot of side body, right? Side body stretching tends to be one of my favorite things. It's pretty accessible for most people. And it's a great way to actually move your spine in kind of all directions instead of always being so linear. Good. And then release. Come back up to center. Fold the legs in. Okay. And now inner knees come together to touch. Okay. Feet are very wide. Tops of your feet are down. Can you sit in between the heels? If you cannot sit in between the heels, right? You could put a pillow. Yep. Can you take your feet wider, Maria, so that either you sit in between the heels or grab a pillow? Yep, that's that internal rotation. And I think these are pretty hard for you, right? When we step out, yeah. So I'm going to keep my left leg folded in internal rotation. Release my right foot. Walk halfway back. You have to push into the top of the left foot and into the left shin bone, because otherwise the shin is rolling out. We want the blade of the left shin turning down. Tuck your tailbone, right? That's posterior tilt. And we're just going to go down onto the elbows today. Yep. So that we don't hate the pose, so that we can kind of find a place where we might be able to breathe through it. Now I look forward, and I think that I'm pressing the front of the left knee forward and down. We won't stay long. 3 is the tailbone tucked. If you want more, you do not have to go down. You just need to tuck your tailbone under more posterior tilt. Come back up through center. Plant your hands at the top of your mat as you unfold downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs. Inhale. Right, that's if any pressure was building up through your knees. Notice you guys didn't release your back at all. Like I can actually feel a difference. My spine relaxes when the front body opens. And then last time, look at the top of your mat. So that's why I come forward. So I have plenty of mat behind me. Inner knees come together to touch. Feet are really wide. I push the tops of my feet down so that the spine reverberates up nice and tall. Shift the weight into the right shin bone. Left leg releases. Yep. And it's just like in a pigeon pose. I push the floor, lift up so I can have more control. When I'm down, I can't control my hips. They're stuck. I lift up. I feel the top of the foot, the center of the right shin bone. That gives me some power to tuck. And then I keep that as I lower the hips down on the inside. Good job, you guys. And then can you lower down onto your elbows? So depending on the tightness, my right knee is swinging out to the right corner of my mat. Could you actually kind of pull it into the midline? Yeah, good. I even put my hands a little bit at my hips and help kind of tuck the flesh of the buttocks under a little bit more posterior tilt. Inhale. Exhale, push the center of that right knee down. Come back up to center, lift your hips, unfold your leg, and lie all the way down. Our final pose, we're going to take it a little more simply than we normally do. Left hand, tuck that right foot under, grab the top of your right foot and tuck it to the outside edge of your left hip. Let your left knee draw in towards your chest, and then Help take your left knee across the body into a twist. So Claire, it's not quite the full cat pulling its tail pose, but we all should get this quadricep stretch, the twist, and then make it about the chest opening, little back bend. Even curve through the spine, lifting up out of the low back, mid back. Good. Come back, release the knee, release the foot to come back to center. Step the feet into the mat. For me, it feels good always to take like those like kind of mini windshield wipers. I love those, just massaging across the back of the sacrum. And final pose, you guys. Change sides. Right hand reaches to grab the top of your left foot, pull it up, close the left knee, get the quad stretch. Right knee pulls into the chest, and then left hand, guide the knee across. As the right hand pulls on the left foot, get a little bit of opening through the front of the left leg. And twist. Release the foot. Release the knee. Come back through center. Mini windshield wipers. It's more of a rocking, quite soothing. So I know my favorite poses, you guys. I like to rock. I like the soothing. I actually like a lot of the poses that you guys picked. If there's anything you would need to make this a kind of perfect favorite class for you, please do it. Otherwise, we're going to hug the knees once into the chest. And then open your arms, open your legs. Maria, swing your legs up the chair. Try not to take Shavasana. Swing your legs up the chair to make sure your low back can release. Personally, I'm very proud of myself. I got through the whole last class of 2021 without talking about endings and new beginnings and all of that, right? We hear that a lot. But what I would like you to focus more on is, what do you enjoy doing? I enjoy being present. I enjoy noticing the breath. And I think let's just make the commitment for 2022 of just spending more time with the people doing the things that really are our favorite, that we enjoy. Inhale. Exhale, let that all go. 1 minute. Silence. Take your time. Stretch the arms up overhead. Bend the knee. Roll to your right. And then just pause in fetal position. Because it does have that symbolism, guys. Shavasana is the death of your practice. This pause here is then the rebirth, the renewal, the next opportunity, the second chance to move out into the rest of your day with awareness. Pushing into your hands, press up to find seated. So with your hands folded in front of your heart center, an Anjali Mudra, and just my prayer, my wish for all of you is that you just get to spend more time with your favorite people, doing your favorite things, and really enjoying, right, the present in this upcoming year. Taking your thumbs to your third eye, bowing forward to seal your practice. Jai, Siddhatma.